In another video, I talked about the things that I love about my job as an assistant language teacher or ALT under the JET program. So if you haven't yet, please do watch it through this link. So this time, I'm gonna share the things that I hate or the things that I don't like about my job. Well, actually, I have known some of them even before applying, but most of them, they are surprise discoveries or realizations while in the program for almost 4 years now. Let me start with something that is indicated in the JET program website or in job postings about the JET program even before you apply. JET positions are non-tenured, meaning you cannot stay in the program or you cannot stay in your position for as long as you want to. So for example, JET ALTs. JET ALT contracts are for 1 year. However, it can be renewed for another year until 4 times. So that's a total of 5 years in the program. Of course, with a mutual consent or agreement between the JET program participant and the local board of education or their contracting organizations. Well, special case for those ALTs who were offered to have their 6th year or 7th year in the program. That is because of the pandemic, where Japan has limited entries of foreign nationals, whether students or working foreign nationals in Japan. Because of the non-tenured nature of JET program or JET program positions, those who wish to continue working and living in Japan need to look for another job or another company that would sponsor their visas for a few more years or for a certain period of time so that they can stay and continue working here in Japan. And of course, not to mention the challenge in looking and in applying for a job that's as good, that's equally or closely good paying as the JET program. The next point is this different school placements. So most of the time as an ALT, you have a base school and a visiting school or visiting schools. You're lucky if you are only placed in one school. So I think these is true to most senior high school ALTs because they only have one school placement. But if you are an ALT assigned at a junior high school or an elementary school, you have your base school at an elementary or a junior high school. Most probably, you also have your visit schools. So the reason why you have visit school, your base school is for communication purposes because all contracts or all notices or memos or communications are sent or are directed to your base school for easier transmission of communication. So depending on the number of ALTs and also on the size of the school, ALTs are placed in other schools and are expected to have classes at least once a week, every other week, or once a month, or in some cases, once every term or once every semester as they call it in Japan. What's more difficult here is the level of your visit school is different from your base school. So for me, my base school is a junior high school and I have 2 visit schools. One is an elementary school and another is a special needs school, which happens to be a hospital school or a school in a hospital, which means that I have at least 8 different lesson preparations, 8 different grade levels, 8 different levels of English language proficiency, and those preparations for at least 19 or 20 classes every week. Though I don't solo teach or lead all classes in those 19 classes. Preparing for those totally different levels or grade levels of lessons is challenging. It's really difficult. It takes time, it takes effort. So just imagine me being a junior high school teacher back in the Philippines. Coming here under the JET program means I have to tone down my teaching strategies. I have to tone down my lesson activities to adjust to the level of English language proficiency or learning skills of my Japanese junior high school students. Then I also have elementary school and special needs school, which I don't have any background at all, even if my bachelor's degree is education. Add that to the commute going to and from the different school placements. Number three, part-time jobs are not allowed. This is another point that is explicitly stated in the JET program handbook. So this doesn't come as a surprise. However, for someone who is gipit, hapit, and mukhang pera, mukhang pera ba ako? I find it sayang for the opportunities to earn more with the JET ALT's official time or time schedules. So our official working hours usually end at 4:30 or 4:15. It depends on the school. That's from Monday to Friday. So beyond that and on weekends, you're free. So think of earning extra lapad or extra yen during those vacant periods or during those rest times or rest days. For the next point that I don't like, that I hate about being a JET ALT, I already realized this a few weeks or a few months after I arrived here or I began working at my placement schools. So for licensed and practicing teachers, their teaching skills are not maximized. So blessed are you among all ALTs if you are given the entire period. That's 45 minutes for the elementary school and 50 minutes for the junior high school to present your lesson or to do your activities or to discuss something to your students. Because in my experience, the JTEs or the Japanese teachers of English only give only a certain period or a certain portion of the class, of the entire English class period for activities of the ALTs. So that's when the ALT gives worksheets or do games or presentations, short presentations. So one of the most common and frustrating roles of an ALT inside a Japanese English classroom is being transformed into a human tape recorder or a CD player. Another one is being a presentation clicker or a live audio-visual material. And perhaps one role that makes an ALT question their sanity or their existence as a human being is being converted into a human wallpaper, like as if you don't exist. You're inside the classroom, but you're not there. You don't exist. Lucky me, because I haven't had any experience yet to that level. Number 5, the JTEs screen the lesson activities or lesson ideas. At first, you would think that this is proper and normal. However, when you realize that these JTEs often tell you that, say, these activities are too difficult for the students, or you shouldn't teach this, you shouldn't give this because they haven't learned it yet, or maybe they wouldn't understand that, just scrap it. So hearing these words of discouragement from these JTEs without them even actually trying to give activities that are not based on the textbooks or that are not lifted directly from the textbooks, you'd realize that the problem is not the inability or the difficulty of the students performing these activities or absorbing what you want them to learn or what you want to teach them, but it is the lack of confidence of the teachers to the abilities and skills of their own students. So as an ALT, you're expected to give the students fun and interesting activities or games, but you cannot give the students activities that would challenge them or that would make them step up, that would lead them to a step higher than what is expected of them by the Japanese teachers. Why? Because the JTE thinks that the lesson or the activity is too difficult for their students. Period. And the last on my list, There are times that you are a total stranger or you are totally forgotten at your school placements. I also mentioned this in one of my videos, so again, if you haven't watched it, please do check it out also. So I'm gonna be sharing also the link here. It may be forgivable or understandable if it happens to you in your visit schools because you don't always go there. I mean, most of the time you don't go there, especially if your schedule there is like once a week or every other week or once a month or once every semester. But if this happens in your base school, could you help me find where in Japan we could see the reason, the valid reason why our base schools forget about us? Say, informing us about an emergency drill or about a faculty or staff pictorial for graduation or for the yearbook. Not to mention the omiyage or the souvenirs and some school supplies being passed around on every desk of the teachers and staff in the staff room, except on the ALT Sounds desk. And there you have the 6 things that I don't like about my job as an ALT. If I could think of some other things, maybe I'll be making another video about them or including them. But for now, that's all I can share. Till next time.